Good morning.
Hello everybody! Welcome to day 4 of my trip to Tokyo. First of all, I'd just like to tell you guys a little bit about some of the video games I've been playing recently. I had a nice chance to pick some up because it was my birthday recently, so I got myself some stuff. First of all, I've been playing the new or new-ish Lego Marvel Superheroes game. I'm an unashamed fan of all the Lego games. I think they're, if repetitive, at least pretty fun and relaxing to play. And the completionist aspect really appeals to me as well, getting 100% and everything. This newest one for me is appealing because they've done a couple of new things with the dynamics in the game, massive roster of characters and character customization, which means of course I made myself in the game, as you can see here, and had a great fun flying around as myself in the game. Slightly more powers than I have in reality though. I've also been playing a game called Dragon's Crown, which has an amazing art style, slightly controversial art style because it's over-sexualized and high fantasy, but I quite like it. And the game itself is really, really fun to play. I've been playing it with my girlfriend, oddly more than the Lego one actually, but it's been really fun to do that and fight all the bosses and that kind of thing. Also, this game, sadly, I couldn't record any footage of it because I think maybe it's an issue with the Singapore version or something. But Gundam Breaker 3 Break Edition. The new Gundam Breaker game is apparently not very good, so I decided to opt for one of the more popular ones instead. And this one is awesome. It's really good. You can customize your own Gundam and fight lots of other Gundams. It's great fun. And also I managed to get it in English, or at least English subtitled, which is quite expensive to find on Amazon the last time I checked. And also the woman at this place offered me a bunch of other Gundam games, the Singapore versions, which are subtitled English, which are very hard to get in the UK, so I might go back and get some of those at some point. Okay, so day 4 of my Tokyo trip. Day 4, it was starting to look a little bit overcast as I was leaving the house, which was, I guess, foreshadowing things to come, but you can't hold your holiday back on account of the weather. So the first thing I did was go out and go for a little walk. On my way out, one of the guys who owns the place I was staying in engaged me in conversation, and then once he realised that I'm terrible at Japanese, he started speaking to me in English. Is your ear okay? I heard that something happened to your ear. And to begin with, I thought he was making a crack about my ear spacer and the fact that I still have a small hole there from when I had it when I was younger. But he was actually looking at my other ear. I never really got to the bottom of why he thought that, but I think I just shook my head at him and went, no, my ear's fine. And then was worrying about maybe there's blood coming out of my ear or something for the rest of the day. First stop was Akihabara, one of my shameful favourite places in Tokyo because it's very, very touristy and it's very nerdy, but it was super enjoyable for me to go there. And it's got one of my favourite arcades pretty much in the world there, a place called Super Potato, which I highly recommend if you ever go to Akihabara. It's a very famous one, but it's actually off the beaten track enough that you don't get too many irritating tourists there. Many people who are actually interested in retro video games and that kind of thing, and not just people taking photos of literally everything, which again, shamefully was me this time. But I feel like I paid them back because I spent at least 2 hours sitting there playing video games on their old arcade machines. I started with a game that, I can't remember the name of it, but it basically involves you beginning as a naked little boy who then advances through this kind of side-scrolling fantasy world, gaining power-ups that then give him clothes and weapons and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty cool. I wasn't very good at it, but it was fun. I also played one of my favourite games, Metal Slug 3. All the Metal Slug games are super fun, particularly if you have someone to play it with. Sadly I didn't this time, but I downloaded it on the PlayStation Store as soon as I got home. I also got a chance to play a little bit through a game which I hadn't heard of before, but that I really like and has really put me in a kind of 3D brawler mood for months now. A game called Dynamite Decker, which actually was marketed as Die Hard video game in the West for some reason, but it's I really recommend checking it out if you've got an emulator or anything like that. Dynamite Decker, it's really cool. It's like a ridiculously over the top 3D brawler, which is super fun to play. Following that, I went to one of the more well-known arcades in Akihabara, the Taito Arcade, which is on the main street. And I played Time Crisis 5. I love all the Time Crisis games, Crisis Zone, all that kind of thing. They really remind me of just hanging around in arcades when I was very young and I couldn't go in the bar area where either my parents or whoever I was with at the time went. So I would go and play with the arcade machines with my brother normally. Often we didn't have enough money, so we'd just stand watching the insert coin screen and pretending to fire the guns. And I ended up playing it with this random Japanese girl who never spoke to me, but just came and put a coin in and started playing in the same cooperative game as me. And then she died enough times that she left before I did. Also played around with some Gashapon to get some stickers and stuff for my friends. Also, I saw a game that I also used to see in kind of British arcades, which is called, I think it's Sonic Blast Heroes? Something like that. It's basically One Punch Man as an arcade game. You basically use your own strength to punch a punching bag and defeat the monsters on a screen behind it, which is super cool, and I don't know why, but I love that idea. I didn't want to play it on my own. I feel like that's kind of a bit lame, but obviously I've got the name of the game now, so I'm going to try and find it when I'm around with my friends. By the time I got out, it was really raining, like pouring it down. So I decided to go have lunch. I went to Ueno, which is near a lot of the kind of garden areas and temple areas in Tokyo. I had T's Tantan there, which is a separate one to the Tokyo station, but equally as nice. And they sell sandwiches at this one as well, so I had some Tantan to myself. And I was sitting next to this German woman who was also traveling alone, so I used my very limited German to kind of strike up a conversation with her. She mostly just laughed at my terrible German, so... But yeah, we just chatted for a bit. She was traveling alone as well around Asia. And like I kind of preferred to do when meeting people when traveling, I didn't shake her down for details or anything. I was just like, oh, that's cool, nice to meet you, and then we went off and did whatever we were doing. Anyway, I then went walking around some old landmarks around Ueno, some cool touristy kind of stuff in the park, which was still pretty busy, but I think the rain had driven a lot of the tourists off, so it was basically me and just a bunch of people who were really dedicated to whatever was going on in the park, which I could hear from miles away, and I was thinking, what's that? Sounds like a concert or something. So I spent some time reading through a lot of the cool historical plaques that tell you what happened in this area. Apparently it was basically the final holdout point for the old guard during the Meiji Restoration. Basically there was a coup where the new Meiji government tried to take over from the old government, and they were fighting each other and that kind of thing. Excuse me, my history is normally better than that, but that's my only way of being able to explain it right now. Yeah, moving past all these historical areas, got to the center of this park, and there was a Taiwanese girl band playing a concert. I didn't really get any good footage of it, but I thought that was really odd and really funny that even when I'm kind of moving away from Hong Kong to get somewhere else, I still come across distinctly Hong Kong, Taiwan kind of stuff over there. And they were really awesome, so I stood for ages watching them and got the wettest feet ever. Still, it was raining, so I decided to do something a bit more indoor. So I got the train across the Rainbow Bridge in the rain, and this train is it's awesome. It's like a monorail style thing that goes across the Rainbow Bridge, and it made the rest of Tokyo look like Gotham City in the rain or something. On my way to Odaiba, which is basically a giant shopping center, but apparently it has some cool stuff there, so I headed to see if I could see it. Really, the only thing that appealed to me was the life-size Gundam at Gundam Front near Joypolis, which was awesome. I really, really liked seeing it, and I spent most of my time just looking at it and taking in all the cool details of the giant sculpture, and then was largely disappointed by the rest of Odaiba, which is just a giant shopping mall, and again, a quite westernized shopping mall as well, so I was pretty bored there. However, I did sit and get some donuts. So then I popped back to Shinjuku to pick up a burger for dinner, and went to change my shoes back at my place. Then following that, I went out in Ikebukuro again. Still my favorite district in Tokyo by this point. I really love that area. It's kind of the best mix of calm and busy and entertaining and exciting. And I did some shopping for my friends back in Hong Kong, most notably in a place called Don Quixote, a store with a penguin on it. You might have seen it in some of my earlier videos. But it's crazy. It sells more or less anything you can think of, which is a really pleasing opposite to Hong Kong. Hong Kong, if you want something specialist, you need to order it online because it's the only way you'll get it. And often the easiest way to order online is through Taobao, which is a Chinese website, which I have real trouble using. In Tokyo, it's incredibly easy. There's stuff you didn't even know you wanted, a real kind of church of capitalism going on in Don Quixote. Then I think I popped into another arcade for a bit just to round off the day as being very arcadey, and then went home for bed. All in all, really awesome day. Got through the fact that I had wet feet all day, and I think in a couple of days I get rewarded with some serious sun and some lovely weather just before I leave. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you liked it, and send me a message letting me know what you'd like to see in any future videos once I finish the series maybe. I'm thinking about trying to make some videos with my friends when we're playing games like Overcooked or Gang Beasts, that kind of thing. That could be funny. Still need to work out how the mic setup is going to work on that one, but I think I'll find a way. Hope you enjoyed. See you later, guys!